Okay, we're finishing off Be'ez Hashem Perek Yud. We're holding by the paragraph Tzaddik she'ein gomer. So let's just remind the Olam. Yesterday, with the beginning of Perek Yud, was discussing the chilukim between a Tzaddik gomer and a Tzaddik she'ein gomer, and that's all going back to the beginning of Perek Aleph. Tzaddik v'tovloi, Tzaddik v'raloi. Right, the chiluk between them. And he has explained that a Tzaddik gomer means a Tzaddik that has nepach. Harol shaloi l'toiv. That means he's flipped the bad within him, and he's turned it into good. There's kamat no havamina. He doesn't have a havamina b'chalal in his life to do something bad. That's the mitzias, right? Which is something that's a level that's incredible. Which Maya brings that Nekutim Maran, that just like there's a chiyah for a person to have tremendous emunah avad in the Rabbeinu Shalom, but a person also has to have emunah in the tzaddikim that the Rabbeinu Shalom planted in every generation. That means avad in every generation. There are very few those tzaddikim, to various degrees, he writes, whatever that means, to different degrees, have nullified completely the sitra achra. In that case, he says not absolutely, because he says complete nullification only happens with extremely rare individuals, B'nai Aliyah, that we're going to discuss over here, which is like Kemat not Nageya, to most generations, but to a certain degree they've nullified the Ra within them. Now we move on to Tzaddik she'ein gomer. So he's a Tzaddik, but ein gomer. Who? She'ein soina sitra achor b'tachas hasina. What we explained yesterday is a Tzaddik gomer absolutely detests, he vomits, so to speak, when anything disgusting, when anything against or the opposite side to Torah and Hashem comes his way, he hates it with tachlis hasina, right? So in this one over here, this Tzaddik she'ein gomer, he doesn't hate it with tachlis hasina. V'lachein ein moyes gam kein bara b'tachlis. He's not disgusted with the ra, with the bad in the tachlis tekoifen. V'chol she'eina sinema mias b'tachlis. And if that's where he's holding, al kochach nisha eze shemetz alva v'tanya klisham. He has a small little shmek. He has something very small left within him of this love for those sorts of tanugim. V'lo yusur begodim atzom negamim kol v'chol. He has not, as we mentioned yesterday, removed all of the dirty begodim which are on him. They're not completely removed. And therefore, it's actually the Ra inside him has not been switched to Toiv. Since he has a shaychus to these dirty clothing, so Memela, that's why he hasn't turned it into good. Ella. So what has he done? Just like we have a din in Yeridea. It's interesting that Tanya talks about this quite a lot actually. This din of bittul. The din of bittul, which Abad is a big Indian, but he used it in Yeridea forms, and we'll see more of it in a minute. That the din of bittul b'miutai, that means when I have something treif that falls into, for example, I have a treif, a piece of food that falls into a big pot of kosher. If there's roiv or shishim, whatever the sugya is, then it's bottle, right? It's kilo, it's not there. I'm allowed to eat the food. So we're saying this Tzaddik she'ein gomer, the Ra inside him is bottled b'miyutai, meaning it's there, but it's bottled, just like the treif is in the pot, just it's bottled and you can eat it. It's no chashivas whatsoever. V'lachein, that's why nikot Tzaddik v'Ra, kofuf or bottle loy. That means the Ra has been like sort of bent over. It's out. It's no shaychus. It's gone. The toiv is so overpowering that the ra is kofuf and bottled to the toiv. The alkain but that means, as zer umazer, right? It goes in both directions. If the sinner is not so much, that means the avot Hashem is not so much, right? Obviously it's there, but it's not on fire like the tzaddik gomer. V'lachein nikot tzaddik she'ein gomer. That's why it's called the tzaddik she'ein gomer. V'hinei madrega zu. Mischalekes l'rivervois madregas. This madrega of a tzaddik she'ein gomer has thousands and thousands of madregas. Be'inyan bechinas mir Torah ha'nisha ma'acha ma'arbi yisodus ha'ram be'inyan betula b'mi'uta b'shishim al derech mashal oy be'elef revava ukiyotza al derech mashal. Again, in other words, what he's saying is that different people will dilute the ra, the bad inside them, on different levels, on different qualities and quantities, right? That's why it happens on so many different levels. And just like, as he's using a mashal over here of Issa, Bittul Issa, there are different dargas. Sometimes there's Bittul B'shishim, sometimes there's Bittul B'roiv. Chazal Akover, different times or different situations. So this tzaddik or different tzaddikim are mevatel their ra on different levels. V'heim heim bechinas tzaddikim harabim shebachal hadoros. And this is pretty much the tzaddikim, the tremendous amount of tzaddikim that we have in all the generations. The Gemara says in Sukkah, the Samnesa Alfei Tzaddikim Kamne Kodesh Baruch Hu, right? There are 18,000 tzaddikim that are always fully in front of the Rabban Yisrael. So basically, he's saying Avada, every generation has tzaddikim. Which tzaddikim are we talking about? These tzaddikim. Tzaddik she'ene goma. Ach, al mailes tzaddik gomu, she'omer Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. We're talking about now tzaddik gomu. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, but then the Gemara in Sukkah says, Re'isi b'nei aliyah. Calls them b'nei aliyah. We'll explain in a minute what that means. V'hei mu'atim. So even Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said that there's very little of these tzaddik gomer people. Shalacheni kuram b'nei aliyah. What does it mean b'nei aliyah? Shemahapchin ora, they flip over, they change, they transform the ra, u'malan osodi kedusha. And they're malarit lekadusha, k'deisa b'zoy b'agdama. If you look at the Agdama, the introduction to the Zohar Kodesh, k'shirotze Reb Chia la'alas leheichal, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, whatever this means, but Reb Chia wanted to get to the Mokim of Reb Shimon Ben Yochai. Shoma kol hanofik va'oma, he heard a voice, some kind of sound coming out. Man mincha indi chashoicha, yeah, mahapcha lenahoira ta'omim miriru lemesika adulo yesa hocha. That means, who amongst you called out this voice, has transformed the darkness into the light and the bitter flavor into sweet before arriving. That means Reb Shimon Bar Yochai was basically saying, Rashbi was sending a very clear message that the people that are welcome over here in the area of Rashbi are the people that have transformed their nefesh bahamis to kuloi toiv, which again, as Reb Shimon Bar Yochai said, are miyutim. V'oid nikroim b'nei aliyah. Why they called b'nei aliyah? Mevei shegam avoidosum b'bchinas va'asei toiv b'kiyum ha'torah mitzvoseh. Right, that's the bechina. It's asay toiv hu litzorik avoya umala male ruma malas v'loik de ledovka b'yismach b'vad. They're not, everything they do in Yiddishkeit. It's not only to get close to Hashem, to medabik to the Rabban Yisrael, which of course is such a high madrega. The Rav Tzimoin nafsha batzvei al Hashem k'moshe kosa the apostle Yishai hoy kotzoi tzomei lachu lemaim k'moshe nisba b'mokim acher as well. This is what he's telling us now from the second quality of the tzaddik gomer. That means he naturally wants to cling to Hashem. But the Ma'aseh Tzaddik Gomer is even past that stage. So a Tzaddik She'ena Gomer is desperate to cling to Hashem. He wants to have shaykhs to Hashem. He wants to have connection to Hashem. He wants to live with Hashem. Beautiful. That's the Tzaddik She'ena Gomer. A Tzaddik Gomer is even past that stage. He doesn't do it to cling to Hashem. He does it purely for Hashem. It's a higher madrega. So this is what he says. Like it says again, Zohar Kodesh, Ezeu Chosid Hamischaseid. What does it mean, a chosed that like literally acts kindly? It's the literal lashon. Im koine with his creator, im kain delay. Right? That means over here that the tzaddik gomer over here devotes his life not to himself, but to the Shekhinah. Yeah? Liyachte kutshebrichu ushchinte betachtoinim, which means that the ikar avoda of a yid in olam hazeh is to pick out the nitzotzos hakedusha from the klipas noiga. Just like taking, for example, on Shabbos, the oichel matorich psoiles, he's taking the good from the bad, right? There's a famous Kaf HaChaim, anyone knows, on Erev Pesach, when he talks about the Indian of Berchas Elonos, talking about if a person could do Berchas Elonos, make the bracha during Nisan on a fruit tree, can you do Berchas Elonos on Shabbos Kodesh? The Kaf HaChaim writes absolutely not, because you're doing boire. What's the boire? You're taking on the Nitzotzos HaKedusha. Right, and that the emes is the avoid of every yid, what we're meant to be doing. As we know, the klipa, right, the klipas noiga specifically, is the makor of chiyas, of life, of everything that's in this world that's permitted. But it depends how you use it. It could be good, it could be bad. Our job is to use it for the good. If you remember, a couple of prokim ago, we spoke about eating a steak, the Kovod Shabbos Kodesh, or to serve Hashem. That's klipas noiga. That means I'm taking the Nitzotzos HaKedusha and using it for the good, which is the avodas of a yid. This is the avodah of what we're meant to be doing. To take the klipas noiga, which could be used either good or bad. I can eat the steak because I'm hungry and I like steak, or I can eat steak, I can like it, that's okay. but I'm doing it to serve Hashem. I'm doing it to daven better. I'm doing it in order to learn better. Then I'm taking the klipas noiga and I'm being mevara. I'm separating the tzeitzes kedusha and doing it that way. So a tzaddik that's what he's doing. He's being miyachad the kutsha brichu which kente. Right, his avoda specifically is to do the yichud. Right, to be machabed, to be miyached, right, the Kutsha Bricha, which is so above all the olamos, with the Shechina, which has been diluted down into this world, and that's better than the tachlis of all of his Torah and all of his mitzvahs, is to miyached, and those people that say the Shem Yichud Kutsha Bricha Shchinte, that's exactly what it means, by the way. U'kamosha kosu v'rai mehemna, again, Zoya Kodesh Parsha Teitze, Kivara Di Shtadal, Bosa Avoy V'imei, Durochim Loin, Yatim Megarmei, which basically means like this. He's talking about the Zohar Kodesh, talking about a son who works hard for his mother and father because he loves his mother and father more than he loves himself, which means more than he loves his own nefesh, ruach, and neshama. He's prepared to die for his parents, and he works and does everything for them. So therefore, what he's telling us over here is that the tzaddik gomer gives up his whole metzias. He gives up his whole. He's willing to give up everything for the Rabbeinu Shalom. Right? If you learn the Sofer Shorish Avodah, that's what he says is what's meant to be happening when you say Krishma. When you say Krishma, you're meant to be thinking, I'm willing to die al Kedusha Hashem. You look at the Sofer Shorish Avodah, that's all he talks about. And as we finish over here, it gets a bit complicated toward the end. Ushneim oilim b'kon echad. He gave us two ideas of what a tzaddik gomer does, and they basically come together. They're miyached together. Ki alidei habirurim shemavorim enoiga ma'alin min noikvim. Because through what we spoke about before, this idea of being mavara, of separating the netzotzos kedusha from the klipas noiga and using it for the good, which is what we spoke about it. What happens is he's malin mayin nukvim. What does that mean? So in the Zohar Kodesh, the spiritual energy or human effort, when a human being does something, that energy is called, in the Zohar Kodesh, it's called elevating feminine waters. Right? Malin mayin nukvim, as I state in the Zohar Kodesh, right? Elevating the feminine waters, right? But the response from Hashem is drawing down the masculine waters. Shemavarim min noiga malin mayin nukvim, v'nasim yichudin alyonim lahovid mayin tochrim, which is the male waters. Shehem heim mimei achasodim shemchol mitzvah merach mitzvahs asay, which again comes from all the chesed of doing every mitzvah. Shekulim min bechinas chasodim amayim tochrim, v'hainu Ham shochas kedusha eloikusoy yisbarach memala lamata lehislabish b'tachtoni kamishu b'makom acher as well. That was once again over here. We see the two pirushim in Bnei Aliyah means. Number one, what this tzaddik gomer does, what he does is he takes the ra and he's transformed it into the good. And number two, he has the ability to miyached the Kutsha Bricha, which is the highest madrega, to the Shchinte, which is being diluted down to this little physical world, and put them together, which is the tachlis of everyone. Which again is talking about a tzaddik gomer, which again we believe that there are, but they're very, very minimum. And we're going to go Mitzvah Hashem tomorrow, B'siyat Shmaya, to going to flip the coin. Now that we've dealt with tzaddik gomer and tzaddik she'ena gomer, we're now going to flip. We're getting closer and closer to the Beinoni. We're not there yet. We're talking about Be'ez Hashem tomorrow about the Rosh Hashkoyach.